Yeah. Yeah.
Hello everybody, it's About the Mighty here, and I'm back with another Eve Echoes video. So in today's video, we are going to be revisiting a ship and taking a look at some new things with all the stuff coming out on Tier 9. So what are we looking at today? We're revisiting the Dominix. Before we get started, if you do like my content, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I do release new content in the future. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. So the last vid I did is very similar to this one. So in the high slots, I am still actually using cannons, the GIS-type C-type strike cannons. They are going to give me an optimal range of 54.94 km and an accuracy follow-up of 53.27. This does pair very nicely with the 100 km range that the drones have. Also, on this fit here, I decided to just basically put a shield tank on it. Just because, I mean, defense, it has 4,000 more in armor. But I just wanted to put the shield tank on there to show that it can do either or, it doesn't really matter. So what are we looking at? We do have the 4-strike cannons in the high slots. In the medium slots, I do have a Predator Warp Scram. The Predator Warp Scram is there in case you do run into anything with micro warp drives. You could turn off the micro warp drive. It's way more effective than actually having a web. So turn off the micro warp drive, refit your drones to send out some smaller medium drones depending on what your preference is, and have them take out anything that does get under all of the guns. Other than that, since we are again sitting at this 100 km optimal range, I do have in here two Haley target painters. They're going to have a 36 km optimal range with a 90 km fall off. This is going to put them in perfect range to have two act like one and should be able to apply the damage increase that's going to give us quite nicely. For the drones, we're going to be playing around with the Mark 9 Wardens. We have a full array of them. I kind of wanted to look into this and see how effective it actually was going to be. Now, if we look at these guys with max skills, your optimal range is 93.75 km with an accuracy follow-up of 56.7 km. That's all fine and dandy, but they can only shoot 100 km away from you. What I mean by that is whenever you do have your opponents locked up, you must be 100 km away from your opponent because of your drone control range in order for those guns to shoot. So you can have those guns sitting 153 km out, but you still need to be within 100 km of the enemy for them to actually fire. That's weird. Alright, so again, I wanted to play around with those more because that was with my last, it was a long time ago that I actually looked at those. So I wanted to kind of look at these again on a drone ship that was actually meant to use them. In the low slots, we have the Nestworm Drone Damage Amplifier. I did go ahead and put two of those in there. And then we also have an Eagle Tracking Computer. That is for the cannons to give them that little bit more range. They were doing 50% damage at about 90 km. So I wanted to make sure that we hit over that 100 km so they could apply their 141 DPS as long as we were there effectively. That might be something that could be changed out. That's just kind of a preference thing. I was just trying to make sure all of my weapons could stay within a decent enough range. We do have a micro warp drive on here. The micro warp drive is to dictate more range. You might want to change that over to an afterburner if you see fit. I prefer the micro warp drive on long range ships because I can tell when they're coming in, activate those, move the other direction, and move that way pretty quickly if I need to. However, in this ship, when you're wanting to stay next to your drones, might be something different with that. That'll take way more testing. Now we do have a Pit C-type large shield booster and one C-type adaptive invulnerability field. In the low slots, I have switched these around quite a bit, and this one does look like having 3 semiconductor memory cell 3s is going to give it the most total capacitor recharge at 3 minutes and 35 seconds. So I did go with that here. Drone control range augmenter, I have one of those in for an extra 15 km. A drone speed augmentator for the activation time, and a drone firepower augmentator for the damage. And we're going to take this bad boy out and see what it can do at these ranges with this sniper-esque drone ship. Alright, I'll be right back with the combat. You know, before I do the combat, it might be helpful if I actually did what I normally do and go over all the stats with this ship. The reason why I wasn't going to actually do that was because I've already done this ship before, but there's probably people who haven't seen it. So this ship does, for the large drone operation, get 40% drone DPS per level and plus 5% drone optimal range per level. and plus 5% drone tracking speed per level. So a large drone operation does give this ship a lot. However, if you notice, all of those say drone and not large drone, meaning it can use an array of all of the drones, and they all get that bonus. For its battleship command bonus per level, it does get an additional 10 km drone control range. Its basic starting information, it does have an overall defense of 70,441 with a flight velocity of 131, a warp speed of 2 AUs, a power grid output of 6,912 megawatts, capacitor of 7,430 gigajoules, and it can hold a cargo hold of 1,200. Normally this ship is meant to be armor tanked, and it indicates that here on the stat page. For its overall defense, we're looking at a 104, the way we have it fit out, 104,079 effective hit points. For the shield tanking, you have an EM resistance of 0, thermal resistance of 20, kinetic 46, explosive 50. The armor tanking has 29,912 armor hit points with an EM resistance of 50, a thermal resistance of 35, a kinetic resistance of 36, and explosive of 10. And its structure hit points, it has 30,469, and with all the resistance of 33% across the board. Offense here, we have 282.16 DPS coming from the cannons, and we have 1,136.84 coming from the drones. It does have an optimal range of 100 km. The capacitor is active for 3 minutes and 35 seconds with minus 45.21 gigajoules, or a total of minus 128.9. Capacitor capacity is 12,120 gigajoules with a recharge time of 864. And here's where we normally look at the power grid as well, with a maximum power grid of 10,368. For targeting, it has 28 points with a scan resolution of 151, a signature radius of 310, and it can lock a maximum of 7 targets. Navigation, it is moving at 189.95 with a warp prep time of 12.29 seconds at a warp speed of 2 and no warp stability. Okay, so we did go over that there just in case you hadn't seen all of the course parts of the ship before, and now we're going to go ahead and jump into the combat. Okay, so we're back here with the Cosmic Anomaly, and we are about to enter the mission. Now, the encounter that I picked, it still is the Valentine's Day stuff, so I've got Sabotage the Guardians, Gala, Hard. This is a 5 million mission, so they should be tier 9, I believe. And we're going to warp in and just see what we can accomplish. Before we warp in, let's go ahead and turn on our Field Hardener. And take a look. Our defenses are sitting at 36, 49, 66, 68. Pretty decent. Not great, though. Definitely a lot better tanks, but we're just trying to mitigate a little bit of damage here and there. And let's go ahead and move. And activate the micro warp drive. And we'll be able to move at a total of 1,152.53 if need be. Pretty speedy little potato. Okay. So let's warp in at 100. And we have our Stargate sitting right here. We're at the Edart, whatever you want to call that. And we're going to use that as our exit point. And our whole plan really is to get about 100 km away, set up shop, and shoot them.
Warp drive
So
active.
I'm thinking it's going to work pretty well. It does warp pretty slow, but all the battleships are going to be warping, for the most part, pretty slow. Okay. Here we are. And we're going to go ahead and lock up these guys. Looks like it is going to take some time to lock them up. This guy is the closest. And he is now dead. We're gonna stop moving. Matter of fact, approach. Dead again. These are just the cannons, by the way. Okay, stop here. And we're gonna deploy the drones. Whoa, whoa there, killers. Stop. Boop, boop, boop. 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 There we go. Stop. I should have said that up first. It looks like what happened was have the had the stuff set on, so it was automatically going to be moving. All right, there we go. Now we should be able to stop here and everything should be fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything is, we're just going to double focus fire here, activate our target painters, and we're going to hit the damage amplifier, putting us, our drones are doing 1,437.81 DPS. So we're sitting on a blob of drones. They're just in our butt right now. It fires pretty quickly. I'm actually surprised at their fire rate. Okay, switching targets. And dead. Okay. So let's start locking up these guys. This is the one that I want. He's very close. And he is dead. Next one on the list. Very easy. Very much dead. Okay. This should take out that, and all we have left is the very threatening, very large battleship. Let's activate our damage. Make sure we're focus firing. And actually, let's activate both of the damage and see what that does. This is going to put us up to 1,742 DPS. So this thing is going to be hitting pretty hard out here at the 100 km. A lot of things to take note out whenever doing these as well is we can reduce this damage and get outrange that are going to be farther than this. But two, as you can see, we haven't even had to run the shield booster as of yet. We can run it. We haven't had to use the micro warp drive. In tougher encounters, you will have to use those quite a bit. But you're only going to have to use those while you're dealing with the ships that need to be dealt with in that manner. So you will have to be 100 km in from your ship. So there's going to be some battleships that are just going to be able to hit you. But with the light tank that it has, get rid of them, and everything should be fine. Okay, next wave. We're going to lock up. Okay. Dead. Moving over to the next target. And just keeping them going. Kind of like fish in a barrel. No. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. And sitting out of these extreme ranges, even the cannons on those ships, they're not really doing too terribly much to us. The ones that are able to actually nick us. Oh no, we can use a shield booster. And this is what I mean. I mean, if you're going to have a tank on this ship, you can actually get more effective resistances out of of the one of the shield hardeners than the armor hardener. So if you're just picking off ancillary damage like this and your capacitor is staying up really high, then there's really no reason not to use it. Yeah, I know it's meant to be an armor tank, but I mean, when you're not really taking any damage, why not go with the one that's going to mitigate more? Alright, now that we've gotten into the armor, our guns are going to do a little better damage there. Let's go ahead and activate all of our damage mods and just put in a ton of damage. This is actually one of the ships where I do think activating both damage mods at the same time is very effective. You could spread the damage over a lot of ships, but if you have one problematic ship that you really need to get rid of, you can do that and just focus all that damage on them. Alright, we're down to the last guy. Very easy. So all in all, I really like the fact that the Sentry drones do not have to travel over there to hit them. And that's it. That encounter is completed. Extremely easy encounter. With the Sentry drones, just make sure you don't have all of your stuff set to auto orbit and auto attack and blah 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 and all of that, and you're going to be just fine. At the end, if you're sitting on top of your Sentry drones, you can just pick them all up, or you could just warp out. Either way, it would be absolutely fine. So yeah, that's the Sentry drones. They can just basically sit off and make this ship into a sniper ship, and that's extremely fun, and I think that they do a very good job at what they do. I mean, even there we had a bunch of smaller ships. I was able to hit all those smaller ships just fine and just take them slap out. So what other changes could you do on this ship? Obviously, if you really wanted to, you could put some like large rapid missiles on here. And you could have the rapid missiles and not worry about even using the strike cannons. So if you did spec out the missiles, you could put those on there and just have those for when ships do get close up on you, and then you don't really have to worry about changing out your drones if you don't want to play that method. Oh, another thing on here as well. Where is it? So we have all of the drones in here, but in the drone bay, and it does have enough space to actually be able to take and hold all of the different types of drones that you may need. Now, as you can see here, I did not put in any more medium drones, but I had 10 hobgoblins in here. I had 2 Vespas. You can put in all of the drones. All of the drones. And it is pretty fun, so yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Let me know what you're looking forward to when Tier 9 hits, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.